Before the slogans, before the campaigns, there was an engineer, a man trained not to chase attention, but to solve problems one structure at a time. Born in the Ashanti region of Ghana, Francis Addai-Nimoh started by building systems you can see and touch. Infrastructure, roads, real solutions, not theories. In 2009, something shifted. The people of Mampong trusted him with more than concrete and steel. They handed him a constituency and the responsibility to build opportunity. For 8 years, he served in parliament, quiet, steady, focused on development, science, technology, decisions measured not in applause, but in impact. Then came the defining question: will you step forward when your country needs a different kind of leader? In 2014 and again in 2023, he entered the presidential race, not with the noise of populism, but with a conviction of competence, patience, and integrity. This is not the story of a career politician. It's the story of a man who believes leadership should be engineered brick by brick, policy by policy, guided by values, not vanity. Today, we explore the foundation, the upbringing and experiences that shaped him. Next Saturday, we continue the journey, leadership, accountability, and the future of Ghana. Stay with us.
The only hope for Africa is for Africans themselves who can develop the continent. And I want to welcome you to Channel 63, the channel that focuses mainly on advocacy and policy issues that affect this continent, particularly those that relate to women and the youth in reference to the Agenda 2063 and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I am your host, Emmanuel Day-Tumi, and today I am privileged to be hosting my own good friend and brother, the Honorable Francis Addai-Nimoh, a 2-time presidential candidate in the country called Ghana, and I'm so delighted that I have him here with me to have this interesting conversation. Francis, others will call you Honorable Addai-Nimoh.
No, you just need to
for you and I,
Francis.
I say Francis.
Thank you, Ima.
People don't know how far we have come.
That is correct, because unless we tell them,
yes,
particularly those in the youthful group,
yes,
that we have known ourselves many years from our student days as student leaders in the country called Ghana.
Yes.
So it's my pleasure inviting me to African Future Leaders Institute, based in Accra here, for the work and services that you are offering, particularly to the youth and to the women, the advocacy that you are doing. So let me commend you on that. And I know that is a flair you have. I mean, from our student days, that is one area that I know is a talent that your Creator has given you.
Thank you.
Your ability to mobilize the youth.
Thank you.
And all of us, that was how we came up in our leadership struggles.
Francis, this conversation is not only formal, sort of thing. You and I have been student leaders in the early 90s, late 80s, and today we find ourselves here. And you in particular, you have gone through the mill and gone into public service, become an astute politician, and all of that. And so this conversation, we're going to be talking about Ghana, Africa, particularly the issue of leadership as it relates to the young people who are coming up today. And I have this expression, I say, they think that life is like a microwave. You put in pot and then it comes out and then. So I want to take you back to your younger days. How has it been for Addai-Nimoh, Francis Addai-Nimoh, who today is honorable, 2 times presidential candidate? Your background, where do you come from? And what shaped your upbringing?
Well, I come from a small community in Ashanti region called Mampong, which is near Mampong.
Right.
Traditionally, Mampong stool is the second highest within the Ashanti kingdom to the Ashanti king. And so that is the area I come from. And I was born into a family where my mother never went to school, a complete illiterate, but had the native knowledge. She was talented and she could speak the truth with her mind. But my father, however, was a policeman. And so he's one person that indeed inspired me in my upbringing, in my education, and how far I have come. So that is where I was born. And because of the nature of my father's work, we lived at so many places, Central region, Ashanti region, now Bono East region. And so my father retired in the year 1985. And that was the very year I also completed secondary education from Navrongo.
From where, Navrongo?
Yes.
You lived in Navrongo before?
You
went to school there?
I went to school there. My father never lived there. But when I sat for my common entrance, he requested or directed me to choose Navrongo Secondary School at that time.
Any particular reason?
He felt that that was a very good school in those years. And I don't regret going to Navrongo because I'm an Ashanti by birth, but I'm also a Northerner by education.
Yeah, of course. You spent almost 5 years
5
there.
years I was there.
Eating TZ?
Yes, eating TZ, brazing the scorching sun, the Harmattan season. I mean, a young man, a young guy, a secondary school guy, left alone there, catering for myself. So I developed my independent life early, how to survive under any condition. So you may not identify me to be that aggressive, but I'm firm. I'm firm. I'm resolute, and as you use the word, I'm hard in my decision making and in my conviction. So once I'm convinced of something and I know I'm capable of doing it, I'll gather the courage and pursue it. So from Navrongo, 5 years academically, I mean, I turned out to be the best academic student in my year group from Navrongo. Then I came to sixth form for my advanced level education at Kumasi High School for 2 years. And also, I turned out to be the best academic student at Kumasi High School, where I studied mathematics, physics, chemistry. And let me tell you, it was at Kumasi High School that indeed my leadership, even though it had begun at Navrongo Secondary, it was at Kumasi High School that I experienced a turning point.
Okay. What happened?
And this is what happened. I was a fresh student. I'd come there, and then Kumasi High School. Lower six. At that time, if you wanted to be a senior prefect, election is conducted. It wasn't the school administration that will pick you.
Sure.
So I was encouraged by some new students that we had come from other schools for sixth form, lower six. And they said, Francis, we think you can be the senior prefect. So why don't you put your name or yourself up for the position? Initially, I was reluctant. I said, well, I mean, student body politics, even though at Navasco I had been involved in the Christian leadership. Now you want me to take up a whole responsibility of the school? So having reflected on that admonition, I said I will contest. So there were 3 of us who contested for a senior prefectship. 3 of us. Michael Ansan Samoa. I'm sure he's now living in the States or so. My good self. And then there was a 3rd person whose name I've just forgotten. Michael and the 3rd person, they were continuing students. They were in Kumasi High for 5 years, and so they were continuing. And I had come.
They were old students.
Yes, they were old students. So I had come as a new student. But I gave them a tough time, you know. I gave them a tough time. When the time came for us to present our manifesto to the student body, the entire student body, and you know it. If you goofed, that would be that would be the nickname that will be given to you for the rest of your life. So I gave a powerful speech to the student body, and they really understood, and they saw that, no, I'm a new student, however I qualify. So we went into the elections, and unfortunately, I couldn't emerge as number one, but I placed second. And simply because I was a new student.
Right.
That is why I placed second. So, Ima, that was the first time I went through
student leadership contest
and by-election. Besides that, I was also given additional responsibility as Scripture Union President at Kumasi High. So I had 2 hats to wear. 1, as Assistant Senior Prefect. 2, Scripture Union President.
Also, even though you didn't win for the Senior Prefect, they gave you the assistant?
Yes, because we were 3. So Michael Ansan Samoa
became the Senior Prefect.
Won by gaining the highest number of votes, so he became the Senior Prefect. Right. I came second in terms of votes, right. And then the third guy came third. Right. So I became the first Assistant Senior Prefect. Okay. And then the other person became the second Assistant Senior Prefect. So there were 2 assistants to the Senior Prefect. And as I said, I was also made the Scripture Union President at the same time. So I had these 2 responsibilities to make sure that I performed. Sure. And gladly, I did my best in managing my time, managing my academic work. And in terms of academic, too, as I told you, I emerged as the best student as well. So it was all about management and fixing yourself, planning, making sure that you do things together. Then after Kumasi High School 6th form, I entered Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And then you were then also at the University of Ghana.
Labour School.
Well. But interestingly, those of us at Tech,
yes,
we don't agree with the Lego night.
Of course, but you know, those days, whenever we meet in our political stuff, that's what. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
So, Ima, when I entered KNUST, the 88-89 year group, and then 89-90, 1991. So first, I was involved a lot in inter-hall Christian fellowship activities and became one of the wing presidents also. That was my first responsibility in leadership at KNUST. And we were responsible for reaching out to the student body, students in secondary schools at that time. And the wing was called Outreach Wing. And our focus was to reach second cycle students with the gospel of Christ and encouraging them to mold their lives in such a manner that they become responsible people as they are growing. Because some of us also had that experience from our seniors then. So first year, second year. Then by third year, whilst I was tipped to be the Inter-Hall Christian Fellowship president, I was approached by the SRC secretary, one Mr. Beku, and suggested to me that he wanted me to be his assistant secretary at the SRC, the Student Representative Council. Again, initially I was reluctant. And then I had a few consultations, and they said, no, once he had a trust in you and he had conferred with the 1991 SRC president that you could be an effective secretary, assistant secretary, and to help the cause of the SRC, I mean, just join them. so that other people can also take up the Christian leadership. So I accepted. And then I was appointed as the Assistant Secretary of the LSRC in 1990-91 academic year. So having gone through that academic year and the work that I did with the LSRC, it got to a point that virtually I even acted as a main secretary. Because at meetings, how I organized meetings, I articulated issues to them. Some of them felt that no, even the secretary, who was an elected person, was not performing as an appointed assistant secretary I was performing. So I assisted them. Then when their tenure of office ended, was about to end, and we needed to go for election to elect the president, the secretary, and the treasurer for 1991-92 academic year. Again, the president and the secretary approached me and said, no, Francis, we have worked with you and we think that you can provide leadership to the entire student body of the university. I was scared because I looked at the numbers of the student body, thousands. Me to provide leadership, an engineering student, where my whole focus on doing my calculations and making sure that I had precision in all my judgments or in all my calculations. But again, I was strongly admonished. So I accepted that, no, I will run for the SRC president for the 1991-92 academic year. So I went into that contest with another person who then was the secretary for Unity Hall, the JCRC for Unity Hall. He was the secretary. He's now one Dr. Kamenta. So the two of us, and it was a keen contest. Very, very keen contest. Dr. Kamenta was a planning student then, and I was in engineering, So the contest wasn't easy, but at the end, I prevailed, and I won. That time, there were 6 halls of residence. I was in Indies Hall. Dr. Kamenta was in Unity. So I won in 4 of the halls. I won in Indies, my own hall, Republic, Queens, and Africa Hall. These were the halls that I won.
Of course, there's always a linkage between
Yes.
Indies and
Yes. And then Dr. Kamenta won in his hall, Unity, and in the University Hall, popularly known as Katanga.
Sure.
But the margin was close between me and him in both these 2 halls, whereas I gave him the gap in the other 4 halls. So I emerged and became the SRC president. And that is how we pursued it. As you know, then you also were the SRC president for University of Ghana in 1991-92.
Right.
And in 92, when the country was preparing to move from the military rule of PNDC and go into the democracy constitutional rule, we also engaged in the usual student alloters.
Sure.
And I had to suffer 1 academic year. Instead of completing my final exams in 92, I had to suffer an academic year and to complete my final exams in 1993. So these are the things that have occurred from my school days up to now. Immediately I left school, I decided that let me pursue professional career development. Because I trained myself as a civil engineer. Training in highway design, construction supervision in buildings, in water systems, in the environment. So instead of jumping straight away into politics at that time, which I could have, I gave myself a little bit time that let me focus in my career, professional career development. So I worked in both private sectors and the public sector also. The private sector, I worked in construction, I worked in consultancy, civil engineering, construction, civil engineering consultancy. Then I ended up at the Ministry of Roads and Highway as a civil servant. I've been a civil servant also in my life. So. And I noticed all was to prepare me for
Politics.
For politics.
Public life.
Yeah, for the public life. And so I learned how the private sector operations are, and in public sector, how things are also done. You know. So a combination of these really helped me when I jumped to go into a major public life service. So, Ima, if you ask me, this is how far I've come.
Interesting.
2008, I left the Ministry of Roads and Highways and went for parliamentary primaries of the new Patriotic Party.
Let me stop you there. We'll go to that. We'll go into that. But one of the reasons why I needed to get to know your background is because for many, this program is watched by young people, upwardly mobile professionals in particular, and it's also watched by policy experts, because whatever we discuss is to help in reframing and how policies are formulated and all of that. And in particular reference to the young people, most young people see people like you who've been in public service, because in Africa, when you are, it doesn't matter how smart you are, if you're not in public service like a politician, the focus is not on you. So, and when the focus is on you guys, they think that you just jumped and you just arrived. So I needed you to walk through this process for people to know that Addai-Nimoh, who could have been the president, sitting with me today, did not just arrive and wanted to become president because he's become politician. No, that you've built the capacity right from the beginning. So let me ask the question. Before you went into public service and all of this that your background that you've enumerated for us, what were some of the key values and principles that shaped your life to the point where you could not say that it's time for me to go into politics?
I received a lot of inspiration from my late father.
Okay.
And my late father believed that, 1, you must be hardworking. 2, you must be an honest person. 3, you must be a humble person.
Hardworking.
Yes.
Honest person. And?
Humble.
Humble.
Yes. Okay. So in developing my political career, my professional career, these 3 things have been the pillars that I have dealt with people. I believe in hard work. And the hard work is not that, it should not be about much I do, about nothing. You must be resource-oriented. So whatever you set yourself to do, and you can quantify it, you make sure that quantitatively you achieve it. You achieve the results. So I don't set myself to do something that I know it will not inure to the benefit, not only me as an individual, but to society. Okay. So that I'll pursue it and make sure that I achieve the results. So hardworking, meaning results-oriented, a focused person, achieving your results and making sure that there is an impact of what you do. And because you'll be dealing with people, you need to build trust. And the trust will come from being honest, straightforward with people. And that is where people will trust you. Once people trust you, then doors are open for you to grow and to develop. So that is the second H. That is what I term it. Honesty. You are hardworking. People will reach out to you. We want you to do this for us professionally or in politics. Come and do this. Come and give us a speech. Come and do this. Yes, but you must also demonstrate that
you're honest.
You're honest. And then, having been honest, it will also require you that you don't show or display pride, arrogance, but rather you must be humble. And the humility in this context is not to be afraid of anybody. The humility in this context is that you have respect for humanity.
Right.
So for every person who comes your way, you must demonstrate respect to that person. One, as a human being,
Right.
irrespective of his race or color or societal status, educational background, whatever. No. So long as he's a human being, just recognize that person. That is the kind of humility I'm talking about. So that you don't shun other people as if they do not matter. And the humility will also not mean that, as I said, you are a coward. In our context, usually, when we say somebody is humble, we tend to think that the person is coward. No. What I know is that the very people who are humble and respect humanity, they are firm, they are resolute, and once they are bold, once they take a decision, they stand by the decision, whether correct or wrong, until proven otherwise. So these are the three principles that I always follow in my life. So for the young people who watch me, this is what you must develop. In other words, you can also say that you believe in justice, mercy, and honesty. And I have termed it to be hard work, honesty, humility.
How does justice relate to hard work, for example?
Well, if you are hardworking and you are focused, you want to be fair with everybody.
Okay.
You have to be fair with people. And that is where justice will come in.
Right. Let me take you back to Navrongo.
Sure.
In retrospect, at that time, you didn't know you wanted to be a politician when you were in secondary school.
Not at all. In fact, when I was in secondary school at Navrongo for 5 years, a lot of my mates and people who knew me from Navrongo were surprised that I had entered partisan politics at the national level in Ghana. Most of them felt that, Francis may end up to be a pastor. because
we're involved in Christian.
Yes, because of his Christian background. Yeah. So
Scripture Union and all
yes, Scripture Union. I recall one time I met Reverend Sudanaba, who was also inspirational to us those days when we were students, and he was a KNUST then. Then he asked, Francis, so how did you get into partisan politics? Your nature, you seem to be so calm, cool, and this game is a rough game and that. And I said, Reverend, look, I'm even rougher than some of them, but they don't know. They don't know that I'm even more rough than some of them. But my cool nature, my calm nature, that is how I am. But I only respect humanity, but I pursue my conviction.
Interesting. So at what point... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Navasco, no, I never dreamt that I will enter the national politics, even though I had the mindset that I want to end up in some form of leadership, particularly in academia, as an academic leader. I felt that I should pursue my academics, and one day I become a professor emeritus in my discipline. In my discipline. And so I was focused on my academic work as I outlined earlier on. And then the Christian virtues also shaped me in dealing with people. But it was at Kumasi High.
That the political animal in you.
Yes. That was when I realized that no.
What happened?
Well, when I went for the student leadership contest.
You had a taste.
Yes, I had a taste. And what really triggered is when I delivered my manifesto to the student body at Kumasi High in 1986, the applause that I received then gingered me that, so I could do it. Then let me mold myself, shape myself for the future.
There is this argument in leadership that say leaders are born, whereas others say leaders are made. Using your experience, what's your view of that concept?
I will admit that both situations do exist.
Okay.
You can have people who become leaders by nature. They are born with the qualities of leadership. And there are some who also learn from others as role models, and then they become leaders.
In your context?
In my context, I'll be blunt.
Yeah, be blunt. This conversation is a blunt conversation.
You see,
I'm not looking at any script.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is a natural talent in my leadership.
Right.
Because when I started even before I went to Navrongo, in my primary school and in my middle school education, I used to assemble my own classmates and I will teach them. I will teach them. Because academically, I felt I had something in me that I could also share with them.
Other people.
So I could teach them. Navasco, I was also assembling my own mates and sometimes teaching them, especially mathematics, whether it is core mathematics or elective mathematics and the other sciences. So I realized that I had maybe a God-given talent in mobilizing people, in providing leadership to people in whatever field they find themselves. And that is how I say that
in other
for
words,
me.
there are people who have the natural leadership talent.
Absolute.
But in your case, circumstances helped you to also hone and refine these leadership skills as you went along.
That is correct.
Okay, so let me take you back to at what point did Francis decide that now it's time for me to go into national politics? And what triggered that?
Yeah. You know, from 92, when multi-party democracy, the constitutional democracy, the country was preparing.
Du Bois' time.
Yes, we were all somehow involved at the lowest level. But as I said, when I left the university, I decided that I will practice my profession for a while before. In 2004, as a matter of fact, in 2004, I had the intention of running for parliament in 2004.
Why? What triggered that?
I had been...
I'm asking this because you and I know that, and I'll come back to ask your opinion about whether every politician is a leader, or you think that from you're a politician, I'm not, whether every politician should be seen as a leader, or there are some politicians who are not leaders. So I'm asking the question, and you see, we are blunt. This conversation, I'm excited about this conversation because I'm talking to my brother.
Yes.
Most people don't know that we've come a long way from school days, politics, and all of that. Student politics, not the.
Yes.
So, and today you and I know that the reason why Africa is not developing, primarily sometimes the blame can be put at the doorsteps of politicians, largely. So I'm asking, what triggered Addai-Nimoh, Francis, that we knew from student days and all to say now I'm ready for national politics?
It was to offer a service based on integrity, make an impactful contribution to the nation's development.
But you could have done that when you were in the civil service.
Yes, I did that.
Okay.
I offered. If my records at the Ministry of Roads and Highway
Yes.
is there, fantastic.
So then why do you want to go into active politics?
Yes. As I said, that natural instinct was there. I took time to learn from the private sector and to learn from the public sector. As a civil servant at the central government machinery operation, so that if I then ran for parliament, already I had knowledge about how the central government system operates. And then my background with the private sector to any policy formulation decisions, you can impact, you can make an informed knowledge about whatever has to be done.
Were you impressed or happy with what you saw in the ministry at that time? Could that have been one of the reasons why you wanted to go into parliament to bring about change?
Well, I was impressed because when I was at the ministry, the work that we did, we saved a lot of money for the country, for the public purse. I was involved in monitoring and evaluation of all government of Ghana road projects. So I could go to anywhere in the country where a project was ongoing, and I'll go and conduct monitoring and evaluation in the form of like an audit.
To be sure that the right things are done.
Quality-wise, we are achieving. And then in terms of payment, we are paying for what has been done.
Value for money.
Value for money.
So let me pause there. What you see today in your own industry, how do you feel about it?
Well, there is room for improvement, and I feel...
I like your modesty.
Yes. Yes. There is room for improvement. You know what? When I drive around from professional point of view, the country, now we have a lot to do.
A lot to do.
In terms of road infrastructure projects.
Explain.
Our road network condition has deteriorated. You can take all the major trunk roads. Virtually Accra to Kumasi road is gone. The entire stretch from Pokuase all the way to Kumasi. And anybody who listens to me, if you want to debate me on that, I'm ready and I'll debate you on that. The entire stretch. Not only that,
Yeah.
Accra, Cape Coast, Takrady. Not only that, even Accra, Aflao, Accra, Tema.
So I mean, no, I don't think anybody would debate you on that because we all
Yes.
fly on this.
Even in Accra,
Yeah. So my question
even
to
in
you,
the city of Accra.
you're a professional engineer, planner,
Yeah.
stuff like that. What do you think has brought us where we are?
Two things.
And thankfully enough, you've been in parliament, and thankfully, now come back to this. I'm sure you have seen all these things, and from your heart, you wanted to offer leadership
Yes.
at the highest level.
Yes.
So from where you sit, you've done evaluation, monitoring. If you do a critical assessment, what have we got wrong?
Well, two things. Our maintenance culture has not been good enough. Some years ago, we had a lot of the development partners assisting us in our infrastructure development, particularly on roads.
Right.
Until we discovered oil, and then our status was moved to lower middle income status. Then we had to forfeit some of the things that we were enjoying from the Bretton Woods institutions. So now you have oil, you have other natural resources. So you should be able to go to the international capital market and raise money. Make a case and raise money for you. So our maintenance culture has been poor. Some of these roads that I'm talking about, we have not maintained them for a long time. And once you don't maintain and deterioration starts and is developing the potholes, it stretches.
And we are still doing it.
And we are still. Even in the city of Accra, You drive around, you see the
You
conditions
saw
of
the
the
road you drove on to come here?
Yes, I know.
Right in the city.
Yeah. Even intersections where some years ago we had traffic signals working effectively and efficiently. You get to some of those intersections and the traffic lights are not working. Now we have to bring in community police to come and be directing traffic. It means we have gone back so many years ago in the 80s where we were experiencing these things. We should not have. Not only traffic lights, even the white line markings on our roads, which distinguishes one lane from the other and where you can overtake, where you cannot overtake. Now we don't even do line marking. We are not seeing all these routine maintenance activities being done. Not only that, guardrails which are supposed to protect. You drive from Achimota to Ofanko, you see guardrails which are broken down. We need to fix new ones. So it means the whole road architecture, the road itself, plus its furniture. It makes the situation
I'll
serious.
come back to this, but let me take you back to what actually made Francis decide that now it's time for me to go into politics.
Thank you for watching part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 that drops next weekend.